you specifically have said that you were born to do this, or that acting picked you.
Yeah, I've never felt like there was anything else. I mean, I was 3 years old watching The Sound of Music, acting it out, and begging my parents to like do what I saw Julie Andrews. Like I don't remember a time where I wasn't consumed by film, television, and theater. Like it was
Now,
all
were
I
your
did.
parents in the arts
No,
or anything?
they're both in education, which is wonderful. My mom's a teacher and my dad is in higher education. So no, they were both, I mean, their main thing was like, you can do this. They supported me my whole life. They were just like, you have to get an education. I did not want to go to college.
Really?
I begged them not to let me and to come to LA and be the star I knew I was supposed to be. And I'm so grateful to them because they forced me to go to college. I went to UCLA and it was a wonderful experience. And I was a nerd in high school. I mean, I never got a B and I loved academics. So I'm glad that they forced me to, because I think that the education I got there is the reason that I'm doing what I'm doing, you know?
When you look back, was there a trait you had as a kid where you're like, oh yeah, it makes total sense the way I am now?
Yes. There were also multiple times that things would happen. Like, I remember auditioning at probably 7 or 8 for Annie.
Anywhere?
Annie,
Community
in like
theater?
the community or regional
Okay.
theater. I did a bunch of community and regional theater, but I remember them laughing as I was doing the scenes, but I was like, I am not trying to be funny, and they're laughing. And I remember thinking in my head, it feels kind of good that they're laughing. What if I push it even further? Then they would laugh more. Like, but I remember being so young and being like, I wasn't trying to be funny. Interesting. So it makes sense now that I was drawn to comedy. And, you know, I loved growing up. My dad always took me to Chris Farley and Jim Carrey. I mean, the funny thing is I wanted to be Chris Farley.
Really?
Or like Lucille Ball and Carol Burnett too, because I watched that with my grandma. The Carol Burnett show like changed my life. But it's funny looking back now because I'm like, yeah, I was drawn to comedy from a young age. And I was in high school, I got straight A's, but I was always getting kicked out for making jokes. Or even if I wasn't the one making jokes and talking, they would assume it was me and kick me out. Beth, I'm like, it wasn't even me this time, but I would get kicked out of the classroom. So I see it now that like there was obviously a trend growing up, but I thought I was a very serious actress in theater school. Like I wasn't
Really?
necessarily pursuing comedy. I wanted to do everything, and I wanted to do Broadway desperately, still do. And
Did you feel like, because you knew it was what you were going to do, did it make you impatient to get started?
absolutely.
It did?
I was desperate to get started. I wrote Kristen Chenoweth's manager at Untitled at the time. I was 15 and I wrote her a letter. I think Kristen had just done Charlie Brown and I'd seen her on the Rosie O'Donnell show. And I wrote her a letter that said, I am the next Kristen Chenoweth. I am 15 years old. I don't remember exactly what the letter says, but she let me come and have a meeting with her in LA. And I just remember sitting down and she was like, I just had to meet the 15-year-old who was like, I'm the next Kristen Chenoweth, because that's a ballsy thing to say. And like,
Really?
I flew by myself. It was
So
like.
what did you think? Like when you got the letter back?
Oh, I thought I was going to be a star. I was like, oh, well, this is my big break. This is my
What did your mom
chance.
say?
They were just like, probably thought the same thing. Like, wow, some big manager actually responded. I mean, now I think, I'm like, did they think I was weird? Because my sister's like in graduate school, very intelligent, normal life. I mean, I was doing that stuff though from the time I was 10 or 11. I was trying to write. And I begged my parents to take me to New York when we lived in Virginia to audition for shows, and they never did, because they were like, we don't want you to be a child actor. Like, we want you to get an education, and then when you're an adult, you can make that choice if that's gonna be your living. Which now I'm like, so incredibly grateful for, but at
Yeah.
the time I was very impatient. Yeah.
You were.
So, yeah. I love it, Sam. I love what we do.
Hey folks, thanks for watching. If you like what you just saw, then why not subscribe? Click right here for lots more off camera. And if you want to see the hour-long version of these conversations, I'm going to give you the secret link. Here it is, offcamera.com. Check it out.